Return what is mine, or suffer the river's curse.
The village of Umuokorie was in chaos. The riverbed was cracked and dry, the fish floating lifeless in shallow pools, and the air reeked of decay. Livestock roamed weakly, some already dead, and the crops wilted under the relentless sun. Fear gripped every heart. Obinna and his friends moved cautiously among the scattered potsherds, knowing each step could bring death. The memory of Ikena's death haunted them. His wide eyes burned into their minds. Amara stayed close, clutching her talisman, whispering prayers to the river spirits for guidance. The elders had returned from visiting the first native doctor, their faces pale and voices heavy with dread. The debt is not yet paid. The goddess's anger grows. Each day without restoring the pot costs more than treasure. It costs life. Obinna's friend shook, terrified. Chike whispered, She will come for us all if we do not act. Suddenly, the green mist rose again, calling through the village like living snakes. From it emerged the python goddess, her massive coils glinting in the dim sunlight, eyes burning brighter than ever. She hissed, voice echoing in every mind. You have failed to respect me. One life has already been claimed. More will follow. Return the pot exactly as taken, or all you love will perish. Panic spread. Obinna fell to his knees, shaking. One of the elders, trying to calm the crowd, approached her, waving sacred herbs and chanting protective prayers. The goddess's gaze turned toward him, and a wave of energy swept the ground, throwing the elder backward. Fear rippled through the villagers. Amara shouted instructions, guiding Obinna and his friends to move the shards carefully. They dared not touch the wrong piece, for even a single mistake could summon death. That night, as they attempted to gather the largest shards near the river, a sudden hiss split the air. A green tendril shot from the mist and struck Chike, throwing him violently to the ground. His screams echoed, then stopped. Obinna ran to him, but it was too late. The goddess had claimed another life. Horror froze them all. Grief mixed with terror as the survivors realized the goddess's wrath was not just punishment, it was a warning of total destruction if the pot was not restored exactly as taken. Obinna and the elders decided they must consult stronger native doctors, even those rumored to speak directly to river spirits and forest gods. The journey was perilous. Shadows moved unnaturally, whispering threats and promises of death. Animals fled, and even the wind seemed to carry a hiss, a voice reminding them that the python goddess was everywhere. Along the way, they encountered signs of her anger: dried wells, dead birds, twisted trees, and riverside stones cracked with green light. Each moment was a test of courage and unity. Arriving at the second native doctor, an old woman known for powerful river divinations, they were greeted with rituals of fire and smoke. She examined the shards and shook her head gravely. The pot resists all hands not guided by the river, she warned. It will not be restored by force. You must understand its spirit, follow the instructions of the river itself, and act with humility and respect. Any pride, any greed, any carelessness will be punished with death. Obinna felt the weight of responsibility crush him. Amara guided their hands over the shards as the old woman chanted, and faint whispers from the river carried instructions. Each shard resisted, glowing, vibrating, and occasionally lashing out with bursts of green energy. The slightest mistake sent them sprawling into the mud, bruised and terrified. Days passed with little progress, and the python goddess grew more restless. More livestock died, wells dried, and a strange sickness spread among the villagers. They realized the death was alive, demanding more than mere restoration. It demanded respect, obedience, and understanding. The village slept uneasily, fear pressing on every soul. Obinna and his friends lay awake, haunted by the deaths of Ikenna and Chike, knowing the goddess's eyes were everywhere, in the river, the mist, the trees, even their own dreams. Amara sat by the river, her talisman glowing faintly, whispering protective prayers. The elders conferred quietly, preparing for a series of rituals that might appease the goddess long enough to allow them to restore the pot. But everyone knew this was only a temporary reprieve. The python goddess's patience was endless, and the death would demand full payment. Obinna and his friends had survived, but only barely. Each day without progress brought more suffering, more death, and more terror. The village of Umuokorie had learnt a grim truth. The river never forgets, the python goddess never forgives, and some treasures are worth more than life itself. They had entered a struggle with a force older than time, and only by courage, humility, and careful obedience could they hope to survive the wrath yet to come. Fear swallowed Umuokorie completely. The river lay quiet but unnatural, its surface glowing faintly green, as if watching every movement of the villagers. Livestock were almost gone, crops had failed, and sickness crept through homes like an unseen visitor. Obinna moved like a shadow of himself, thin, restless, and haunted by the deaths of his friends. Amara stayed close, her talisman never leaving her hand, her dreams filled with hissing voices and rushing water. At dawn, the green mist rose again thicker than ever, rolling from the river into the village. The ground trembled as the python goddess emerged in her full, terrifying glory, her massive coils stretching across the riverbank, eyes blazing like emerald fire. The air vibrated as her voice echoed into every mind. Obinna, you have 3 market days. Return the pot exactly as you took it. If you fail, your life will belong to the river. Panic exploded across Umuokorie. The elders ran endlessly from compound to compound, consulting herbs, chanting prayers, and sending messengers to the strongest native doctors across distant lands. Drums beat through the nights, fires burned without rest, and rituals filled the air with smoke and fear. Obinna and Amara walked tirelessly, guided by Amara and the whispers of the river, carefully aligning the shards of the pot. Each piece resisted, glowing, vibrating, sometimes flinging itself away as if alive. The first market day passed with no success. The second market day arrived and the village suffered more losses. The river dried further, sickness worsened, and fear deepened. That night, the python goddess appeared again, her voice cold and final. One day remains. Obinna, your time is nearly spent. By the third market day, desperation ruled the village. The elders gathered everyone by the river before sunrise. Hands trembling, hearts pounding, Obinna, Amara, and the elders followed the river's instructions exactly. Slowly, the shards began to respond. One by one, the pieces locked together. The air grew heavy. The river glowed brighter, and with a blinding green light, the pot was finally restored, whole and perfect, just as it was taken. The villagers cried out in relief, falling to their knees, believing they had been saved. But the river went silent. The mist thickened. The python goddess rose again, her eyes burning brighter than before. She circled the restored pot, her presence overwhelming. Then she turned to Obinna. You have restored what was stolen, she hissed, her voice calm but deadly. But you were late. The river does not bend time. The price remains.
Obinna stepped forward, shaking, tears in his eyes. "Please," he whispered, "let the village live." The goddess watched him for a long moment. Then the river surged violently. Green tendrils of mist wrapped around Obinna, lifting him from the ground. The villagers screamed, frozen in terror. With a final hiss, the goddess struck. Obinna's body fell lifeless by the riverbank, and silence consumed Omokuri. The python goddess lowered the restored pot gently into the river. "Let this be a warning," her voice echoed through the land. "The sacred is not to be stolen. The river forgives no delay." With that, she vanished beneath the water. Slowly, the river began to flow again. Rain fell, crops would grow again, life would return. But Obinna did not. Amara collapsed to her knees, tears streaming down her face, clutching her talisman. The elders bowed their heads in sorrow, knowing the village had been spared, but at a terrible cost. That night, Omokuri slept in silence. The story of Obinna spread beyond the village, carried by wind, water, and whispered fear. From that day on, no one dared touch what belonged to the river. The python goddess had shown mercy to the land, but judgment to the thief, and her warning remained eternal. Some debts, even when paid, still demand a life.